Hello everyone and welcome to Durries&Discussion. I'm joined today with a very special guest, Andrew Warren. Everybody,
Oh,
please
hello.
welcome. First time on the vlog.
Today is the
14th.
14th of November 2019. This is Tom.
How's it going?
I met Tom through YouTube.
That's true. Yeah, that's a bit better.
And now so do you. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I want to go off the grid
Yeah?
and cleanse myself of social media by just having a satellite phone, keep important people's numbers, stuff like that,
Yep.
or call home
Like
every now and
EPUBs
then.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe keep like a diary, something like that. So I can jot
So what's the
something.
attraction to that? It's just getting away from everything.
I have severe social media addiction. Severe.
Really?
Severe
As
social
in-
media addiction.
Like, as in the time you spend it, or how often, or...
How often? How much time? How much I think about it? My brain is wired.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it's a toss up. Like 'cause when your business or your your group or whatever it is on Facebook, then it becomes more important and a valuable tool. And so that makes sense. But then it's kind of like you're fooling yourself there. Because you're right. I've kind of got into the trap myself of just checking Facebook when I'm meant to be just messaging someone and completely forgetting to message them about work stuff.
Yep.
Because everyone's got Messenger. It's just I find it easier than texting.
Sometimes I think a phone book and a phone was an alright place to stop with communication technology.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe
Well, no, not so much. I don't know. It's more so the fact the push notifications is what gets me. It's just
Yeah.
every fucking time. And I don't know about you, but I've noticed that the number of notifications per day, doesn't matter how many friends you have, it's increasing.
Yeah, because
Notice
now
that?
Facebook notifies you if there's interesting events near you.
Yeah, so
things like
there's more
that.
stuff going on, I guess. But also, I reckon it's becoming desensitized to the bidding. It's just, whatever, So there needs to be more. There needs to be, when you open up your Facebook, you want to see more than 2 notifications.
I'll sometimes open up my phone
You get,
and it'll say
14
12,
in 2 days or something.
but 2 of those are someone liking or commenting something. The rest is all group updates
Yeah.
or
I
events
guess
near
you can unsubscribe from that.
Yeah, if you want to fiddle with the settings.
But sometimes it asks you whether it's useful or not.
Mm,
You notice that?
they do.
What was I gonna say? Yeah.
Mm. I think just I want to live a more relaxed experience for a bit, wean myself off technology so that maybe when I come back I can be a bit more relaxed about it. And hopefully
Yeah, you know what?
I won't get a worse addiction.
You know what happened to me when I went over to Central America for the family holiday? I was hoping that by the time I checked my Facebook again, I'll have a bajillion notifications and messages and stuff like that. Just because the back part, I basically wasn't checking it for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right, but it wasn't. It was only 12 notifications. Oh fuck, man! I've been off the grid for so long. It's so disappointing.
One thing I've noticed
Anyway.
about that kind of thing is
First world problems.
yeah, it's first world problems. But also the way Facebook's algorithm works is unless you're active on social media, people don't see you. Unless you're sharing all the time, you don't
Right.
show up in people's
Right,
feeds.
yeah, so the people that post memes all the fucking time, they're just bound to come across your feed. Yeah, I've noticed that. And they stick in your mind a bit more. So that's the thing with the business, because now I've got the Tom Marks media producer business page, which I'm trying to get all organic growth, and once I've got enough content and I redid my branding and got some ads up, then I'll do ads, boost those ads, I think, and then invite my friends, because you only get that once, I think. You can only invite someone once, I'm fairly sure. You can invite everyone at once when you start a new page, just to get it off the ground.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have it where we're still on. Yeah. Some technical issues. And still rolling, all good, okay.
I think someone just tried to call me and it would have gone through my iPad and laptop.
And laptop. That's right. They do that now. Apple.
Yeah, that's the one thing that makes it hard for me to. I want to get an Android after this, and I'm going to.
Android's pretty good.
But like,
Can't really go wrong.
one of the things that annoys me about Apple is they're so clandestine that you can't even download.
Wait, what does that mean?
Like,
Clandestine.
they're
Such a fucking writer.
they're really. I don't know if that's the right word even,
I
but
like it. I like it.
it's as in like they're so like keeping their schmick brand. They're really clean. On Android, you can download apps for stuff like
people buy
Pornhub
them.
and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Can't on Apple.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well.
It's annoying. It's like
Yeah. So not just the product design. They want like everything to be above board and interesting.
yeah, because they've got vested interest in having a certain image.
Well, they do. Aren't they like? That must be huge in China as well, right?
I'm not sure if they are.
Because they're
The government controls so much stuff
Yeah, it's
over
an
there.
interesting place there.
Where they've literally got
probably shouldn't
social
go-
points.
Yeah, like the Black Mirror episode. Probably shouldn't go into it too much. I think. Oh, fucking who cares?
Who
man?
gives a shit? I don't live in
Fuck
China.
China. No, okay. Please don't invade us. But it's just a joke.
Oh, fucking. Who knows? Like, I feel like I don't even know what's going to happen in the future. I mean, I've been.
No one does it.
Have you been watching what's going on in Chile at the moment? It's insane.
Oh, the protests.
Protests, but
That's
also
right, yes.
like the reason why the protests are happening is because it's like the Empire is raking Tatooine over there. It's insane.
Yeah. I think honestly that a similar thing is happening in Australia. That it's like maybe not just Australia. I don't know. I mean, Australia's a very industrialized. For the amount of people, they're just it's fucking crazy, man. So for the amount of people in Australia, we get a lot of stuff done, but also we screw over a lot of people and things. You know, like I don't know if I told you the story or not, but there's an episode of Joe Rogan podcast where I was talking to an Australian like bushmaster. No, that's not the name. Like hunter, sort of bow hunter, right?
Yeah.
And he was saying back in the day when they're still exploring Australia, and there were two civilizations, well, thousands, I guess, but you know, trying to live beside one another. When they were walking from doing this big long expedition thing, and they're trying to find water, right? They came across this well in the middle of nowhere, and they thought, okay, well, before we drink from it, before the animals get into it and basically ruin it and close it in with their hooves and stuff, we do not drink and let animals do it. And the animals fucked it, which they expected that, right?
Yeah.
But it's a well, right? So, and the Aboriginal people, you're right,
Yeah. Just drop my
know
down.
where the water holes are, right? That's a very important thing to know is where the water is.
Mm.
And by the time they got there, by the way, this place is so remote that the next water hole is too far away to get to.
Yeah.
You just can't carry that much water to survive. So they died. The tribe of Aborigines, all of them, they came back. They discovered, well, it's the whole tribe dead because they closed in this only water hole in ages. Probably hundreds of years.
That's horrific. Well, there's a story of these two drovers. I can't remember. It's a semi-iconic story of Australia, where these two drovers lost all their cattle. Everything went bad for them while they were out, and then one of them died, and the other ate
Oh shit!
the other for survival.
Oh, did you see that new movie about whaling? And it's a similar sort of ending, I think. Oh shit, that's a spoiler. Sorry, I just realised they were like invading the whole movie, except the very end. I'm sorry, I ruined that.
Oh well.
Anyway, that one movie, it's really good. I forget what it's called. It's very well done.
Spoilers for that.
Yeah, sorry guys.
A lot of tragic stories out there.
Yeah, but then you hear about these crazy survival tales as well, right? Like someone being bitten by the most venomous snake in the world and surviving by just walking really slowly and just being smart about it. Sort of thing.
Yeah, I think.
And Australians like just I don't know if it's genetically yet, like, because you know this thing, right, where if you're coming from a line of descendants where there wasn't much food available, you're more likely to be overweight because your body is built to take it all in and process it all as much as it can, or something like that.
Right.
So it tries to hold on to as much as it can because that's how you survive. And yet, obviously nowadays, it's just too much. But I'm wondering how recent genetics go. There's obviously mutations can happen, and that's like the next generation or stiffs on or whatever. But like, how quickly can it happen? You know, how quickly can humans adapt genetically to places like Australia, where the hardships are, like, you know, in the early days, it's like really, really tough, especially like because all prisoners and like, you know trying
I had
to
this.
grow around food and stuff.
I had a similar discussion along these lines with a friend of mine, Julia, her name is, and she was talking about how like people have an innate fear of birds swooping them because millions of years ago there were actually birds that preyed on the fucking apes that we were.
Wow.
It's similar to like why you have an ingrained fear of snakes.
Yeah,
because
that makes
snakes
sense.
used to
Yeah.
climb trees
And people are
take
afraid of
pyramids.
frogs as well, which sounds crazy when you think about a lot of poisonous frogs out there, you know, and toads and stuff. And heights is obviously makes sense. Yeah, a lot of that makes sense. I don't actually have that many phobias. You know, I think about it, like snakes and spiders and
Cockroaches
things.
rub me the wrong way.
Yes, that's the one thing I don't like. The one insect I want to banish from the earth. Room. What's the room called? You know, the room you put things where. What's the room number?
What?
Oh, okay, all right. Like room 21 or something like that, or two. It's like the room
27.
where it's like a metaphor for where you put things you don't want.
Like in your mind palace or something like that.
Yeah, like locked away in a dungeon or something. I forget what it's called. Anyway.
I think I'm forever traumatized by cockroaches because one time I had a horrific experience that is nightmare worthy, and it's weird that it actually happened to me.
What's that?
My parents and I went to Carmine Beach.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed in this little holiday house for a week, and we were the first people to be in that house for like 3 months.
Right, so it's like infested.
Well,
or not so because there's no food.
it wasn't infested, so to speak, but because no one had used any of the facilities for ages, right? I had first shower. So I go in, I turn on the water, and the water starts going down the plug hole, and then all of a sudden...
Oh, no! Please.
I hoard of
trying to escape
cockroaches
drowning.
that were living in the pipes.
No, thank you.
Like a hoard, like nightmare
Imagine having a
fuel.
bath and closing your eyes and then waking up to... you know.
A horde of fucking cockroaches came up, and I just freaked out. And all I did, I just clicked in. I turned the shower to fucking boiling, and then just
Oh, really?
and washed them all down the fucking.
I would have just ran away and said, "Oh, yeah, it's fine."
It was terrifying. They started crawling up my legs and everything. It was not
like
cool.
I don't like it when there's multiple. When there's 2 or more in one room. Then it's like, fuck this. You know?
When a house cockroach flies at me.
Oh no, that's the worst as well.
Nah.
It's just they're so unpredictable. They're shit at flying.
They're so unpredictable. Because they just like, you know, they'll climb up the wall and then they'll think, oh, that over there looks interesting.
Yeah.
So they'll just
into your face. Yeah. Like walking to spider webs.
Oh.
That's not.
Spiders I
bad.
can deal with
Yeah.
because spiders, for the most part, have their place. They just sit in a little
Yeah,
corner.
you just don't corner it. It's the same. It's the same thing with like, if they corner you, you don't attack it. It's just how it works.
Yeah. There's not a single spider in the world that is hunting humans. However, the Sydney funnel web is the only spider in the world so far to be researched. They researched it and they found that its venom is perfectly evolved to kill human beings.
Ooh.
because it worked out that humans are its greatest threat,
Right.
and so that's why they have their funnel webs.
Well,
So
didn't
they're
work it
protected.
out. Biologically, didn't they all get together at the...
Yeah, they didn't all get together in the spider
annual
meeting.
spider conference.
But like they evolved specifically
Special guest
to
Spider-Man.
It's an anti-human cocktail. You get
Yeah.
bitten by a funnel web, and if you don't get immediate treatment, you're dead.
Yeah. And then everywhere as well.
Huh?
Like all around Australia. It doesn't really matter what weather. It's crazy, man.
So just don't
Don't
stick
come to
your
Australia,
finger in
basically.
it.
No, it's
If
a
you
nice place.
see a spider web that, for whatever reason, you're drawn to putting your fucking finger
No,
in.
or holes in the ground, just fucking stay
Don't do
away
it.
from that shit.
When I was 2, I was at Carmine Beach. This was before the cockroach incident.
Yeah.
When I was younger, there were these crab holes in the beach, and I was sticking my finger in it and got grabbed by a mud crab.
Yeah. Anyway. Do you reckon there's an actual no, I can't say that word right for some reason. Correlation? Correlation, that's the one. From the shark baits being taken out and more shark attacks? I don't think there is. I think it's just the media hype around it. I think they just boost those
There's
stories.
media hype about all sorts of things. I mean, at the end of the day, we're venturing into a ecosystem where they are the top predators.
Yes. Well, in the water, yeah. They
Yeah,
are.
white.
Definitely.
The great whites are the epitome
Oh,
of
yeah.
your top predators.
Tiger sharks, even. It's more common.
Yeah. Like, I don't think
White
anything in the world hunts great whites.
No. Except humans.
Yeah.
Or
And there's no real
shark
reason
fin
to.
soup, which apparently is pretty bland.
Like, nothing out there in the world needs to eat great whites to survive. And because they are the top of the top.
Yeah.
If they die, I think, like your bacteria.
Or maybe
freeze on
giant
them
squids.
and stuff. Maybe.
Undiscovered. imagine a giant squid attacking a great white.
That'd be interesting.
Because there were a lot of stories about giant squids back in the day.
Well, sperm whales eat giant squid.
Right, yes. Yeah. But like big enough to take down ships.
Mm.
That's like heavily ingrained folklore.
Yeah. Because you think about it, like those boats were made of wood.
Yeah.
And we're out in the deep reaches of the sea before we started polluting stuff. And so the ocean was just, its own thing, had nothing affecting it really, other than some wood stirring the pot. And so all of those giant creatures probably were existing very, very, very happily.
Yeah, apart from when we worked out that whale oil is really useful.
Yeah, well.
And then, the noise, just, how whales, well, a lot of sea creatures actually navigate with sonar.
Yeah.
The noise from ships, like diesel-powered ships and any propeller, I guess.
Would fuck them up.
Yeah, because of the low frequencies, it just travels for ages and they can't communicate as far with each other. Used to be, without any interference, it would be hundreds of kilometers, and now apparently, like, in shipping lanes and stuff, it's only down to like 20 or 30 kilometers.
Jeez.
Because there's so much interference going on. It must be a very noisy place, the ocean, nowadays. Like,
I'm always, how like bees are disappearing and things like that.
yeah.
I always wonder, like, how direct the correlation is between like that and like the increase
5G?
of internet and phones and things like
Yeah,
that.
because they do.
And satellites, frequencies.
Yeah, because
bouncing around
they
it.
do have electromagnetic sensors. Same with like sharks as well. It's like you can strew with their sensors with technology without even realizing it. And here's the thing, right? Here's the weird theory, right? So you know how humans are the only species that we know of that can communicate through Wi-Fi, like wirelessly, like without seeing it, sort of thing. What if other species and like plants and things could do the same thing? Because there is this thing where they communicate with other species around them, or other plants of their own around them, about nutrients. Right. So if one plant is not doing so well, they would actually send nutrients through like the mycelium and stuff.
Oh wow.
So there's a big underground network of mycelium and roots and stuff where it's all interconnected. So it's very much like Avatar, weirdly enough. It's come out pretty recently, I think after Avatar actually. They've discovered that. So really radio lab a podcast about it. Yeah, and they can trees can talk to each other. Also, you know that the smell of cut grass is actually the grass basically screaming at each other, saying "help." You know, saying "watch out, there's a predator around."
Oh Christ!
Which I don't know what the point of that is. Maybe like not take up as much water or something, so it's more on the ground. I don't know how that works, but
maybe it's a warning to like release pheromones or grow spines
or maybe
release spores quickly.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe that way it communicates to the rest of the thing to start germinating.
Yeah. Right.
Like you know, your flowers and seeds and stuff.
Yeah.
Another thing I was talking about earlier today was why are there species, humans included, that die from fear?
What?
Like you can shock a creature to death.
Right.
What's the evolutionary purpose?
That sounds like a fuck up to me. I don't think pain. No, but they're just going to be dead anyway. It doesn't matter.
I was thinking like, what if it's just what if it was the resignation to death for the purpose of the circle of life? Like, no. I know I'm going to die. I know this is terrifying. I'm just going to die.
But life fights tooth and nail to survive.
But if you knew with every sense of your being that you were going to die anyway, what's the point of being alive? So your brain just kills you. And then
no, I don't know about that because by having that, it's a disadvantage, surely, unless there's an afterlife and it somehow carries across somehow. I don't know, but like, staying still and running away and all that stuff makes total sense, right?
Or maybe it's something that's only newly observed because there's such, there's creatures that now exist where like new predators exist in areas. So what if a predator that never interacted with prey was introduced, and then the prey sees it and doesn't know what to do with it, and so the fear just kicks in and they die?
No, but it doesn't make any sense to I think it might be a chemical imbalance of adrenaline and because you know how people can go into what's the point of shock then? What's the point of being so afraid? Well, I guess it's to stay put, maybe.
Sheer survival. You know, if you get into a car accident, you're going to be scared of driving for the rest. Like PTSD.
Yep.
That keeps you surviving.
Shell shock.
Hmm.
Yeah, is it PTSD forming, or is it like staying put? Like imagine back in the day, millions of years of evolution, like being in a tree and staying up there to avoid a predator. I think that's where that's come from.
That freeze.
Yeah, and it happens to me on really minor things. Like, for example, like my neighbours, my whole place got broken into. Yeah. And we saw it happen. And so we called the police and stuff. And as soon as they jumped the fence, actually, not even before then, I was really sketched because, like, the screen door was open. I said to my roommate to lock it. It wasn't. And so I got really freaked out. And so I started just, like, staying up all night. And then he came home from his night shift. And then I told him the whole story and stuff. And fortunately, we saw these sketch people across the road at the library, like pointing at houses and pointing at our house. They didn't know we were watching them because it was nighttime. And we were like, oh, these guys are going to rob someone. Like, it looks sus as. And sure enough, they did. And then, so that kind of really minor things like that are just... I don't know about shock. I just like really... You get really adrenaline pumped from something minor. It's not really a danger. It's just like, oh shit, something's happening,
Like stage fright is an example of that kind of thing. Yeah. Where it's not going to kill you, but...
How often do you get that? The opening nights, or is it new shows, big shows, small audiences?
Sometimes if it's a new show, sometimes I can... Something I experienced with Sweeney was I had that kind of fear almost every night in the first scene, and it disappeared.
Oh, right, just get into it. Yeah.
Once I'd gotten into it.
Yeah.
If I'd had a warm up Beforehand,
Yeah,
it wasn't as bad.
it's the same thing like running shows. Like, I used to be audio and lighting tech and projections actually, and even though it's a pretty small audience, it's a pretty small venue and stuff, it's just like the opening night. You get that adrenaline buzz, gets you awake.
It's the unsure.
But then the last show, like, know everything off by heart, and you just press space bar. It's really boring by then.
Sometimes I find that, and this has happened to me a couple of times, where I don't know my lines that well, but then the pressure of having an audience in front of me and requiring to do it
Helps you.
It's like my brain goes, oh fuck, now you really need to pull into your recesses, and it all comes out.
Right. It's like, yeah, right. It's like demand for memory sort of thing.
It's like the idea that you probably won't run your fastest unless you're being chased to the death.
Yeah, probably not. I wonder how Usain would go. There's no ethical way of testing that, though.
No, there's no ethical way of testing that. But, like, you'll probably fight your best and run your hardest.
Do you think horses do that?
I think so. I think that's the whole idea behind the
Do you
whip
think
cracking.
Yeah, but do you think some horses catch on, like pigs, and they know they're going to be killed? Well, I guess,
Maybe.
injury or old age or whatever.
I mean, there's been plenty of people killed by fucking deers.
Yeah?
Yeah, because, like, they've got horns. It's not like they're, unarmed specimens. And a horse is probably going to rear up and kick you in the fucking face if it really wanted to.
I guess so.
They would have natural predators, like wolves and things like that.
But if it did that, then it would get put down, so maybe it's outbred.
But it probably doesn't know that.
Well, maybe genetically it's been shifted, like dogs, like how pugs are so fucked up. It's because of selective breeding.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty interesting.
Pardon? Oh.
So, Andrew's housemates are just
Going for a swim.
having a little swim.
It is nice having a pool.
Yeah, man.
How long is this going for? Holy shit.
Is that the longest we've done?
That's the
You wanna go
longest.
to half hour?
That's the longest one I've done so far. 27
Well,
minutes.
there's no editing, so I guess.
All right, half an hour. Let's go.
So,
We've talked about a lot
have
of
you
stuff.
heard? Yeah, man, it's good. Have you heard of a theory called morphic resonance?
No.
It's this theory where species can learn from each other from the other side of the planet without really having to, without any way of us knowing that they're communicating. So, for example, sheep in Ireland have worked out how to roll across cattle grids to get across the other side. And at the very same time, sheep in Australia have done the same thing. First time in history that has happened, and then I think a third place it happened. And these two incidents happened for the first time separately without each other knowing about it, and then people caught on. And there's a few other examples I can't quite remember.
That's very
So-
curious.
Just back to the theory of us communicating with Wi-Fi and the internet and stuff like that. No other species that we know of knows that we're doing that.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to FaceTime your dog or something,
Yeah.
I don't know what they'll think of that.
Yeah.
They might be really bored. They might be thinking, oh well, I can communicate emotions with my friends on the other side of the world. We don't know that.
Yeah.
It's like species evolving. Something. It's like, have you heard of quantum entanglement?
I've heard the words.
So, basically means that one atom can affect another atom from the other side of the universe instantaneously.
That makes sense.
They're paired together. So, I guess the idea for that is instant communication. If we can work out how to do our own.
Well, realistically, the universe is teeming with atoms because
It was
light
mostly
has
dark matter
weight.
and dark energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, light has weight, which means it
does it?
has. Yeah, they've measured it somehow.
Yeah.
They found that light has weight, which means because it's an energy source, so it has to have mass.
Yeah.
So light has mass, so therefore it's made of something.
No, but I thought the idea was because it can travel at the speed of light, it doesn't have a mass. Just if you don't have a mass, the only speed you can go is the speed of light. In a
Well,
vacuum.
but it's
whatever it
still only a certain speed. It's not like it's instantaneous.
is. Yeah, I don't know why that is. Because you think about, like, you look up at the night sky and you're not actually seeing the stars right now. You think seeing them tens of thousands, millions even, years ago.
I'd find that interesting. Like, say if we looked
yeah.
with a really good telescope and we found a civilization that had life on it, right?
But it was ages ago. It was like 20 million years.
Yeah, they're dead.
Yeah. Well,
or transcended something by the time
yeah,
we're
it'd
looking
very
at them
unlikely to
now.
be the same, yeah.
But it's like, could you imagine, like, if you somehow could find a mirror planet to us and you watch, like, civilization starting out and you're like, they're dead. That's millions of years
or
ago.
looking back in the past, there's a theory that the universe is a donut shape and we're just on the inside of the surface of the donut. So any direction you go, you just end up eventually at the other side.
Yeah.
It's just one theory. So the idea is, like, if you wait long enough and you're in the right position, you can actually see Earth from the past.
That's curious.
Which doesn't make much sense to me. But it's interesting to think that every single thing that has a mass affects every other thing that has a mass.
Yeah.
And actually, no, actually everything. It's like affects space-time. So right now, me moving my hand is actually making gravity waves.
Well, it's that whole butterfly effect sort of theory of, like, there is, well, it even goes down to philosophy in that it's like you have no idea how responsible you are to, like, how you're implicit. You have no idea how implicit you are to everything, and how everything is implicit to you.
Right. Yes.
There is no actual way of, because it's so complicated.
Also, if you measure something, you change the results anyway.
I find it interesting though that, like, scientists who, you know, like, study astrophysics and stuff like that and can agree that there's constantly things moving around, give no credibility to astrology whatsoever. Obviously, like, there's brands of astrology that are fucking stupid. And it's like, I'm an inward facing Scorpio, blah blah. But there's got to be a degree to which gravity and the shift of the planets and everything like that affects us.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, but that's astronomy, not astrology. No, sorry, it's.
That is astronomy, not astrology. But, like, astrology is based off of the placement of the planets at the time that you were born.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Who's to say? What if, you know, it's like an incubator. Like, you can incubate eggs in a certain thing, and they've worked out that the temperatures and the ways that you incubate eggs can create males or females. They do this. You can breed only females from eggs by incubating them at a certain heat, like chickens and things like that.
What?
You can using heat levels, you can make females or males. So why not everything else affecting us affects how we are born and how we eat, sleep, breathe?
Well, we are evolved to, like, the reason we see the light that we see is that's because of what comes down from Earth. And the reason we can see green, we can distinguish green from more than green, more than any other color, with different shades of green. It's because of
Vegetation.
Yeah. So know what to eat.
Another conversation I had recently today.
I mean, how long has that been?
Was about why the plants are green, and
right, yeah, because
it's from algae.
What?
So the same way that
I thought it was the light spectrum.
Well, obviously it's a light spectrum, but chlorophyll is what makes trees green. It's a type of chlorophyll, which is chlorophyll A.
Yeah.
Everything that is green, all of the trees and plants, chlorophyll A.
That came from algae?
Yeah, algae has chlorophyll
so
in
why
it.
is algae green?
Because of chlorophyll, but...
No, fuck off. Wait. Think about that.
Regardless of the light spectrum...
It's the chicken and egg, mate.
But, like... So, the same way that we are descended from, like, you know, creatures from the ocean, trees are also descended from creatures from the ocean.
Yeah, right, yes.
So...
Even algae and then, like, basic seaweeds and things like that.
Yeah. Because there are algae out there in the depths that have different chlorophylls that come out as red or purple because they absorb the energy of the sun at different light spectrums.
Right.
Because of the red shift and things like that, right?
Blue shift. Yeah, it becomes more blue. There's more blue light available, which means you can reflect red light more efficiently than green light.
Yeah. So because of things like that, there's different algae, but because of the way that, you know, everything has ascended, the algae that was closer to the land, or where the land... Fuck knows.
Like, our skin is white to absorb a little bit of sunlight to somehow process into vitamin D or something like that. But if you're in a tropical environment for ages, your skin's black. That's just science.
Yeah, your melanin builds up.
So why?
Which is the same reason why there are people who have more melanin, like say your darker skinned people,
Yeah.
who live indoors more are having vitamin D deficiencies.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah. But why aren't plants black then?
Who knows? I don't know how chlorophyll works. But the
Ask
idea is that
Veritasium or something.
the universe is so random that if land propped up in different places in the ocean, we would have had purple or red trees.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. And I guess that can't really happen again with the vegetation because it's a competition.
Yeah. In an alternate universe, say,
Yeah.
there's green, there's red trees because that algae wanted to go on
I'm
the
not
land.
sure if, because the whole idea that we've got an average sun in like an average rocky planet, and like
According to our averages.
Yeah. So I wonder what the average is for actually sustaining life, because the only reference point we have is Earth. And I guess some zero-G studies and things like that. But I'm curious as to whether, say, like red dwarfs, right? They last way longer than normal orange. I forget what the class is called, but the orange stars, like ours. They last way longer, which means there's more chance of life occurring, right?
Mm.
It just means you have to be a bit closer, which I guess is more unlikely to be that close. I don't know. But you're thinking, like, my point is, like, I wonder what the most common alien looks like.
Or you could go the other route and say if
What
we are the
ecosystem?
only life that existed in the universe, say if we were,
Right.
the universe is implicit in that. The universe would have to be exact as it is in order to make life in one part of it.
Yes. And if you were to change the weak magnetic force, no, that's not right. One of the forces that keeps atoms together, right? If you were to change that by 0.5% up or down, carbon life forms wouldn't exist. So our laws of the universe, the universe is fine-tuned, it seems, to be ideal for life to form.
Hmm.
But or it could be the case that life is optimized to the universe, because that's just going to make something from nothing. Like, we're answering some big questions now.
It
Where
all,
did we come from?
whenever it comes down to it, like, because
Oh,
of
yeah.
the miracle of life and how rare it seems to be, it's no wonder that people believe in gods and things like that, because it's like you're always searching for your
Yeah.
meaning.
Well, the Big Bang is another creation theory.
But it's like, why?
But then there's another theory which humans have a really hard time comprehending, is that, well, what if it's always been around?
Yeah,
What if time has always existed? There's no end of, just because our lives have a start and end doesn't mean the universe does.
you can't actually, as far as we've found, you can't actually destroy matter.
Energy, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't destroy energy.
Yeah.
Like, you can split an
Speed is
atom,
empty
but
squares.
the energy of the universe
Yeah, and
does not shift.
even with black holes emit Hawking radiation.
What's that?
They're, I want to say stray neutrons that bumble out every now and then, like radiation, which doesn't make much sense, does it? Like, how can that escape? But not. Yeah, I don't know. Such a strange world. It's just one planet as well. And that's the thing, it's like, why haven't aliens visited us yet? If the odds are astronomically, literally, stacked in the favour of something else being out there. And it's only just seems to be a matter of time before we have that technology.
Potential
Then why not,
theory says there should be something, because
Like the Fermi paradox, right? It's like, you need to be able to survive wars and things like that, so your civilization actually is around by the time you can travel between stars. You've got to be evolved to that point, which is very rare, and also you have to have life started, which is also very, very rare. You know, and it's like, and also there's I think they're called Van Herman machines or something like that, where basically self-replicating robots, right? Imagine if you set a few of those off into a solar system and say, go mine some asteroids and make some more versions of yourself and repopulate. Well, why aren't we seeing those around? Because you can populate an entire galaxy in just a few million years with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like an AI sort of self-replicating robots. Like there should be tons of them. Or maybe we just can't see them. It'd be like, you know how, okay, I forget where this is coming from, but someone was saying that, Michio Kaku. He's got old guy with grey hair, it's like Japanese, he's a futurist. Yeah. So, he was saying that, like, well, why can't we communicate with aliens if there should be so many, you know? But it'd be like, why can't squirrels talk back to us?
Yeah.
You know, why can't we talk to a possum? You know,
There's-
it talks back to us, like.
There's a movie I watched called I Origins, and it's this sci-fi sort of. It's very, very low key sci-fi.
Right.
But the whole movie is the protagonist is this guy who wants to prove that God doesn't exist, and the way he wants to prove God doesn't exist is by giving, by biologically engineering creatures that have no eyes to have eyes, because one of the biggest arguments for creation is like eyes are so complicated. Yes. How can you engineer them?
Yeah.
So he's trying to breed worms that have eyes that didn't have them before.
Right.
And his girlfriend is very spiritual, and she basically says to him, like, I believe in spirituality, you believe in science, blah, blah. But who's to say that spirituality doesn't exist? What if, like the worm, you just don't have that sense yet? To the worm, all it has is touch and smell and taste. But what if you're lacking the sense in order to perceive what's around you?
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, you hear these crazy stories of people meeting entities and stuff on, like, DMT trips and, like, and all that, and, like, going to other realms, and it's so realistic, and, like, it's just, like first contact sort of thing, like that sort of...
I mean, I myself have had quite revelatory experiences while on psychedelics. And the thing that makes them revelatory is that, you know, it's an agreed thing. Like, I went to Groove, and it was the second time I ever had MDMA. And I was with Bo, and I was looking around, and it was one of 2 times I've seen this.
You saw Jesus and you look back, he wasn't there again?
No, but like...
he's always with me.
I looked at Bo in the eyes, and I saw a weird glow behind his eyes.
Right.
And...
Is he stoned?
I was staring at him, and I was like, oh, that's really weird. And he looked back at me and described perfectly what color I was seeing. He was like, they're this,
what?
Right? Yeah, and I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, your color is this. And then I looked around, and I could see...
Wait, when you say like a glow, as in like some sort of light source, not like reflection or like...
there was no reflected...
subsurface scattering where it like goes through your eye sort of thing?
Like a light source.
That's strange. Like a robot.
Like a spiritual, like, aura or something like that.
In one eye or both?
Both eyes. And then he could recount to me what color he saw in my eyes. I could recount to him...
Like, so it happened at the same time?
Yeah.
You just looked at it and then, wow, what?
Yeah. But then I look out in the crowd, because it's Groove in the Moon.
Yeah.
I saw maybe 3 or 4 other people that I could also see the glow in. Everyone else was empty. That was weird.
Was it the whole night? Or
nah,
is it just
it dissipated after a while. It was in the afternoon.
That's strange.
But I've also seen that colour reflected in pitch black.
Oh, fuck that. Like red eyes sort of staring at you.
It's strange. And it's hard to...
What colour was it?
Purple. Purpley blue. And there's like... And I looked into it. Like, there's a whole thing behind, like, spirituality index of, like, what auras mean and stuff like that.
Yeah. What does that mean?
I can't remember exactly, but I know like
Sexual deviant.
mine is like green and yellow, which is like a chaotic sort of chaotic. Yeah, it's a weird chaos sort of aura, and
Huh.
yeah,
There you go.
it's peculiar. But the phrase that stuck in my head after that, because I look around and I see that so few people had it, but saw that other people had it, and I was like, I told him, I was like, I can see it in other people.
So it wasn't
and you,
to
but
do
not
with the
in everyone
sun
else.
and like the angle and stuff like that.
No, it was just
It wasn't like a one-off. It was like multiple people facing different directions.
yeah.
Shit.
But it was just the looking in the eyes, and the phrase that he said to me that really stuck in my
Yeah.
brain was, because I was like, I see this in other people, but most people don't have it. He's like, yes, some bodies dwell among us. I was like,
What?
the idea that
Some bodies
there are human beings who don't have souls, or that there are souls that dwell among life.
Right.
So there's like biological life, and then there's a spiritual
Yeah,
life.
it's the thing though. It's like we shut that down so often when it comes to that. Like it's so easy to just dismiss it, right? But for the most of human history, I think we're all like that. I think it was like dualism, like religion and stuff like that. And then it wasn't that long ago, like 4, maybe 500 years ago, science came around, and then it went from dualism and something else, and now it's going back to both sort of thing. I'm trying to work out how can these coexist. Imagine being able to work that out and having like a, rather than sending radio waves as communications, you're sending like auras across to someone and sending like emotions or something,
Because I mean, like, there's nothing to say that like, spirituality isn't just another spectrum of energy that.
Yeah, what's the thing? Where do thoughts come from? Because if you damage your brain, you damage your neurons, you're going to get brain damage, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Very well documented, and so that's what these scientists believe, that the soul, the thinking part of it, is in the brain, is where the neurons are happening. That's it. But how do you explain people experiencing near-death experiences, where they are dead for a bit and they have a memory of that, of being out of body and stuff like that, and being so real, and then they back into the body in the hospital room, whatever.
Or like those people that have never seen the ocean, that have dreams of what the ocean looks like. And it's like, is that just a biological memory?
But when is this though?
Like ages ago, before planes and things like that. But
Would
it
it
was
just
like,
be illustrations and stuff?
I think it was just
do you think?
word of mouth, like
Right.
recounting.
Yeah,
like
but
they
also-
would come across people who had had these experiences, who lived in deserts, had never ventured outside of them, never seen a coastline before, but could recount.
That'd be a crazy experience, seeing an ocean for the first time.
Yeah. There's still people out there
what
in
do
the world who live completely tribally that have never seen certain aspects of the world.
Also like remote tribes and stuff. South of India, there's an island there.
Yeah.
How else is that? What do you think about memory being transferred from either genetically or just like passed down? Memory being passed down, because instincts get passed down. How does that happen? Just from genes. And phobias get passed down.
Yeah.
Diseases make sense because that's genetic. But like, how can you program in shapes and objects and creatures and understandings of why they're dangerous, like sharp teeth?
I mean, like, even like down to the way that you're, like, okay, for instance, I'm I've got Irish heritage, right?
Yep.
And I, without even investing much interest into that stuff, like, found a draw towards art and writing and like verse and
It's the
things
same
like
with
that.
me with music.
But,
I'm
like,
apparently like 60% Irish or something like that. And yeah, like folk music, I think that I can get onto.
Yeah, me too. Like, I'm very good at that kind of folky sort of singing.
Yeah. What about dancing?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird that.
What gets passed down? I just think that like spirituality and stuff like that is like so far unquantifiable science.
Yeah.
I think science is a tool for which to explain phenomena.
Or maybe spirit actually is another, I want to say category of science, like, you know, biology and stuff, but it's not measurable. Maybe that's the definition of spirituality. It's a phenomenon that's not measurable.
Yeah. Yet.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I don't. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? We should wrap this up.
I feel like
It's an hour.
it's almost now. I feel like that's a good
episode.
it's a good place to stop it. The thing that I found, because originally I was just recording these straight to YouTube and uploading them, but I've had so many corrupted files and refusing. So now what I do is I record it on my phone, save it, and then I Bluetooth it to my iPad and upload it through that.
You probably get like an app. Oh, I didn't know, but then the encoding would be slower. What you could do to make a faster upload is encode it at a lower bit rate. But then YouTube compresses it like a lot anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You just upload overnight.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
I was just going to say, I watched a video that by MKBHD, Marcus Brownlee, where he did this experiment. It was done ages ago, back in 2009, and then he redid it, where he used one of his really, really professional fucking nice cameras to shoot in like 8K, and then he uploaded it to YouTube and downloaded it and re-uploaded it, and he did this 1,000 times and saw what video
happened?
looked like. It's incredible what stayed. Like,
really?
It looks fucked after 1,000, but it's like there is still a coherence.
Yeah.
There's shape in it. And that's a really impressive algorithm. It's an insane compression rate.
Yeah, Facebook is even worse for that. Quality-wise, I don't know about the stats of it, though. It'd be interesting to see. Because, like, a raw photo is huge. And then you can get it down to nothing. Well, to us it's nothing, but back in the day, it would take up half your hard drive, you know?
I think he got to about 250 upload and re-upload before it started to actually affect audio.
Oh, audio, yeah, that's the big one. Do you know there's more possibilities of 1 second of high quality sound recording, or more possibilities of what that sound could be, than there are particles in the universe? In less than, I think it's even less than half a second. The math is actually quite easy. Because the number of particles in the universe is like 10 to the 80, right? But that would be, let me think about this. It's like, imagine like a code lock, and then it's like, I came up with this theory in high school. I haven't fact checked it, but it sounds about right. Where if you get a code lock, right, say you got 4 digits and, 10 digits and 4 slots, right? There's 10,000, 0 to 9999, right?
Yeah.
With a sound sample, it's a similar sort of thing. You've got a sample rate, which is your slots, which is 48,000 a second normally, and then you got bit depth, which is the increments of volume, which is normally 8-bit. So 10,000. So that's 10 to the power of 4, which carries across to 2 to the power of 8 to the power of 48,000, which is much bigger than 10 to the 80, and that's just in 1 second of sound, which is pretty low res anyway. How nuts is that? So I'm thinking of doing like this little gallery installation, right, of a screen with black and white pixels, and it shows every single image possible, like randomly. So it's gonna look like snow, but some of it you might get some shapes you recognize, you know. And then what you can do is put a little webcam in it, and then every now and then you just have a pixelated image of them watching. Just on myself.
Oh god.
But think about that. Like, someone's made a library online where it's every single combination of letters, you know, in each page or whatever. And then the way they organise it is very clever, like with hexagonal little shelves and shit like this. I wonder if we could do the same, because in that, I mean, it's generating, obviously, you can't just store it on one hard drive. In that, there would be science equations to everything. Will be tutors for everything. You know, there'll be all the knowledge we ever could need in a single page. Well, that could fit on a page. There, we just need to find it. It's like the monkeys and the typewriters writing out Shakespeare. We got an infinite number of monkeys. That there's 100% chance that one of them is going to type out the entire works of Shakespeare to the letter. Because there's infinite. Okay, with that, I think
we should end that there.
That's another Durries&Discussion.
This is the longest episode so far. This is my second guest. I'm gonna link Tom's YouTube channel and etc. in the description. My brain hurts.
Thanks for having me, man.
You're very welcome. I think this was better than a scriptwriters meeting. I think realistically.
that was a fucker and a half.
Oh god.
Anyway.
Okay. Goodbye.